Oh, it's still on. I washed my hair today, that's why I look like a blowtorch to Dorito. I've been reading A Little Life for so long you wouldn't even believe it, but I'm also in a reading slump, and I don't know about you, but trying to read A Little Life while in a reading slump is not a very good idea. That is one thick book. So I've decided instead of doing that, to try and get myself out of this reading slump, I'm gonna read a bunch of contemporaries because it's summer. My sister and I go outside like for half an hour every day after lunch for recess time, and oh my goodness, today was so hot. I walked outside and the air just slapped me. The air was so hot and humid and sticky and still, and it was gross, and it stuck to my skin and I hated it. And yet I would still take that over the freezing cold slush, snow, and rain that we get for like half the year any day. So I'm gonna read 5 contemporaries because it's summer and I feel like it. I'm 200 pages into When Dimple Met Rishi, and I've been having fun. The characters in this are South Asian, I'm South Asian, so there's already a level of relatability there. Dimple and Rishi are both Indian, so they speak Hindi, and I don't speak Hindi, I speak Bengali, but because I've grown up on like Bollywood movies and Hindi serials, I have this like base level knowledge of Hindi that is basically enough to understand the Hindi that's going on in here, so that's pretty cool. Something kind of interesting about this is Dimple and Rishi's different outlooks on like culture. Rishi is really connected to his culture and he thinks it's really cool. He enjoys talking about it to other people, and Dimple is very different. She doesn't feel that same connection. There's a passage in here that I just want to read for you really quickly. I haven't been to India since I was 12, but even when I did, the thing I remember most is feeling like I didn't belong. I mean, I was already going through that phase at my school where I felt like my family was weird and different, and I just wished they'd be like all the other parents. But then I went to Mumbai, and I realized that to all the people there, I was American. I was still the outsider and still strange, and I still didn't belong. One of the girls, hearing Dimple's accent, had laughed and called Dimple Firang, which Preeti had explained, red-faced, meant foreigner. I read that and I was like, Sandhya Menon, you didn't really have to come for me like that. I kind of relate to Dimple because even though I'm not Indian, I'm Bengali, but I was still born here in Toronto. I've lived here my whole life. I haven't been back to Bangladesh in like 8 years now. I can understand Bengali perfectly, but I can't really read or write or speak it all that well, and it's probably the thing that I hate the most about myself. So I feel that disconnect between me and my culture, kind of like Dimple does. And I kind of wish that I was more like Rishi, where I was more in tune with it. I've had that feeling before, that she has a feeling like I'm a foreigner in the place that's supposed to be my home. I've never felt really out of place here because, again, I was born here and I grew up here, and also the area I live has like a really huge South Asian population, so I'm kind of at home here. But when I go back to Bangladesh, it's just completely different. Also, a lot of my Bengali friends actually lived in Bangladesh for a good while before coming here, and so their Bengali is really, really good. I would get like self-conscious when talking to their parents or like talking Bengali in front of them because I just don't sound like them. I sound so Americanized. I have a huge American accent when I speak Bengali, and they'd kind of make fun of me for it. Like, I know they mean well and they would never actually want to be mean to me or like make fun of me in a bad way. I know they're just joking around, but still sometimes it makes me self-conscious and makes me disappointed in myself. Yeah, I wish I just had a bit more of a connection to my culture and to Bangladesh as a whole. Okay, that's enough getting deep. We're done. I finished the book, by the way. That's why I sit down to film this. I gave it 3 stars. I just wasn't really feeling it. The whole setting of a coding program / summer camp thingy-majig was not really doing it for me. I don't really care about coding. From the little bit of it that I did in grade 10 robotics, I did not have fun. I didn't care too much about the coding, and that's kind of a problem when a major plot point is that they're at a coding program. I thought the relationship was cute enough. The whole time I felt kind of at a distance from the characters. Like, usually I can get myself engrossed into it and I can feel like the characters, but for this, I don't know why, but I just wasn't really attached to them very much. Still a sweet, fun summer read though. I am not liking this. The writing in this is so juvenile. There's like no style or substance to it. It's very what you see is what you get. I feel like this is something that I could have written in like grade 6. And I know that's mean, but it's true. The big glare right there. I finished this. didn't like it. The main plot of this book is the main character Zoe and her grandma going to find her long-lost Uncle Teddy, and that doesn't start until like 150 pages in, so I'm just subject to 150 pages of poorly written backstory and build-up as to why she wants to go, which I get. That is important, but at the same time, you couldn't pay me to care about it. You wait around for like 150 pages of them waffling, and then by the time the main plot actually does start, you only have like 100 pages left, and then the book is over. Also, spoiler alert if you, for some reason, still want to read this after my review. I guess the big plot twist, quote-unquote plot twist of this, is that Teddy is actually a trans woman, and that's why she lost contact with the family. But I don't know if I like that or not. I get that it's a plot twist in the sense that it's not what the reader was expecting, but at the same time, I don't know if I like the idea of using something really serious like gender identity as a plot twist. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know about that, Chief. I don't know about that, Chief. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Don't know about that, Chief. It's 264 pages of poorly written whining. The main character is so annoying, and I feel like the whole point of the book is that you have to sympathize with her to really like the book, and I could not stand her. I gave this a 1 star. It's more trouble than it's worth. I also didn't annotate it because I will be looking to donate this at the earliest possible opportunity. It's a couple weeks later because summer school's been kicking my ass, but we won't talk about that. I am halfway through Since You've Been Gone, and I am immediately liking it a lot better than my first 2 reads. I feel a kinship with Emily because she's socially awkward and I'm socially awkward. She was talking about how when Salone was here, she wouldn't have to like try too hard to get into conversations. She could kind of just sit and laugh along, and Salone would take the lead and she would still feel like she was part of the conversation. Man, I felt that in my soul. Whenever I'm in a social situation, I usually just like stick to my sister like a magnet. Granted, she's also socially awkward, but she's better about actually talking and finding things to say than I am. I kind of just like sit and wallow in my own awkwardness. There also seems to be a little romance blossoming between Emily and Frank. Frank is academic and also wants to get more into running, and I find that extremely attractive. We love a student body president, don't we? I'm enjoying this a lot more than the other books so far. This is my first Morgan Matson read too, and she's like the queen of contemporaries, so I'm excited to keep reading. I'll probably be able to finish this today. I only have like 180-ish pages left, so hopefully I can finish it today. But first I gotta do some summer school stuff. I have to go prepare a defense for Ernie because he's being charged for the second-degree murder of Bert. I finished it! I really liked this. For my first Morgan Matson read, it was a knockout. The romance in this was just the right amount of cutesy and awkward, and I just found myself squealing every time both Emily and Frank were on the page together. I was just like, just get together already, okay? Break up with your girlfriend because you're bored. Is that even the lyric? I don't know. Spoiler alert, by the way. I do have to say that I was interested where Salone was throughout the book, but as we got closer and closer to the end, I just didn't feel the same kind of pull. Maybe because we were also in the middle of Frank and Emily sorting their issues out and actually realizing that they liked each other. But yeah, I kind of just wanted to get Frank and Emily together, and like Salone kind of became an afterthought. But when they did meet up, it was very sweet, very heartwarming. Why the hell would you leave without telling her? I know it's hard. I know you've done it a lot, but that's not a cool thing to do. There was a little bit near the end with Frank and Emily where I was kind of just like, if you just talked to each other, if you just both shut up for a minute and took a deep breath and explained yourselves, maybe we could have an easier time about this. But no, it's YA contemporary, and we know that can't happen. One of my favorite characters had to be Collins. I think he deserves to be loved and protected at all costs. And I am now setting up a Protect Collins organization, so if you'd like to join, my business email is in the description below. It was everything I wanted from this book. Morgan Matson, You were really out here and you really did this. I can't wait to keep reading her books because she's got like so many now. And I didn't even know. I did think it dragged just a little bit in the beginning and a little bit near the end. I mean, it wasn't dragging near the end, but it was a little bit frustrating because we were going between the Emily Frank situation and the Emily Sloan situation, and it was kind of just like, I just want it all to be resolved now. I want this to be over now. I want to see it happen. Overall, great book. I give it a 4 out of 5 stars. Can't wait to keep reading her other books. I am already having way too much fun with this book. And I also realized that I haven't really done the best job of explaining what the premises of these books are, so I'm gonna try and rectify that right now. Save the Date takes place over a weekend, Friday to Sunday, and we follow the Grant family, which is this big family, 5 kids, all of which who have already grown up and left the house, except for our main character, Charlie. Everyone is coming back to the house for this one weekend because the oldest daughter of the family, named Lenny, is getting married, and there's some spicy tea happening because one of the brothers, named Mike, is estranged from the family. This is just the perfect premise to me because I love any story with some good family drama in it, and the fact that we have this set at a wedding is even better. Weddings are already just this high stress situation, and so you take that and then you add all the drama and gossip and spicy tea of family drama going on into that, and it's just, oh, it's the perfect storm. It's the perfect combination that will lead to the most chaos possible, and that's what I'm here for. I love just the hectic quality of it, the chaos that can ensue. The potential for it is just through the roof, and I'm already having so much fun. Already the initial wedding planner has been like gone AWOL because she's been like embezzling all the money, and so we have to have replacement planner come in, who I've nicknamed Hot Planner Bill, and the estranged brother Mike is back in town, even though Charlie was pretty sure he wasn't gonna come back, and I'm just like, honey, no, he's coming back because there has to be some sort of chaos going on. And not only that, but Charlie also hooked up with his best friend Jesse Foster, so it looks like the 2 main love interests right now are Hot Planner Bill and Jesse Foster. I don't know if this is gonna be a love triangle, and if it is, I'm not sure how I feel about that because I don't know if I'm up for a love triangle. Love triangles have to be done really well. Like, I genuinely have to want the character to be with both of them with all of my body and soul, so much that it hurts and that I don't want to read the book anymore. That's what I find to be a good love triangle. I'm only on chapter 8. We're gonna keep going. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I can't wait. I can't wait. I'm 53% of the way in, and I was right about why Mike left. The mother has a comic strip that she runs, and it's this really famous strip that's been going on for I think like 25 years or something like that. And when I first heard that, I was like, I feel like that might have something to do with why Mike left. Maybe it could have been that he didn't want his life to be portrayed in these comic strips because the comic is about their whole family and like all the shenanigans that they get up into. So I felt like maybe Mike didn't like that, and I was kind of right because she told an embarrassing story and that led his girlfriend to break up with him, and then he went public and like talked about how he hated being a part of the family, which yikes, very yikes on both of their parts. I was proud of myself for actually guessing that. I am enjoying the chaos. There is much going on. I will say that Charlie does annoy me sometimes because she keeps saying that, oh, this is not the way that I wanted this weekend to go, or oh, I don't want this to be happening, like this is not how our weekend was supposed to be like, this is not what I wanted, and I'm just like, sweetheart, it's not your wedding. This isn't about you. And at the same time, I kind of do understand because she has a really great relationship with her siblings, but she can't see them a lot of the time. So when she does get those moments, she wants to cherish them. But at the same time, it's like, it's not about you. In terms of Bill versus Jesse, I think I'm leaning more towards Bill right now because I think that it's slightly more interesting to see 2 people who are discovering their liking for each other, slowly falling for each other, rather than watching 2 people who already like each other try to get it on. I will say that the Jesse storyline has more juiciness to it because of Jesse and Mike's friendship, and then Mike and Charlie are not really on the greatest of speaking terms right now, but I don't know, just Bill and Charlie feel more like cutesy to me. It's making me feel warmer inside than Jesse and Charlie. Also, Jesse kind of gives me some shady vibes. Like, I feel like something might go wrong there. I don't know what, but I don't know. I think there's also something going on with Bill because he was sleeping in his car outside the Grant house that Charlie found him, and when he like gave her a reasoning, but to me it sounded like an excuse. So that makes me wonder, is he actually homeless? Like, does he actually have a place to live other than his car? Because that would be some tea. I finished it last night, and for the most part it was everything that I wanted it to be. There was chaos, there was family drama, there was some really heartfelt moments. I definitely teared up a little bit during the actual wedding scene because it was just so cute. And I was right about Bill and Jesse. Jesse was a little bit shady in the sense that he didn't treat ladies in the best way possible and that he didn't really want something serious with Charlie. But I also wasn't completely right because Bill and Charlie didn't actually get together in the book, and I'm not actually mad about that. They have only known each other for like 3 days, so it would be kind of unnatural and a bit fast if they had completely gotten together at the end of it, but I like where they left it. There's this possibility of something happening between them as Charlie goes off to college and she's gonna be really close to Bill, so I like that they kind of left it open-ended, but they're also implying that something could happen there. Really my one gripe with it is the Mike storyline. There was a lot of it in the beginning with Mike returning home and no one thought he would, and then there was a lot at the end with the whole argument in the family room and then them waking up during the Good Morning America. I just wish that it had been a little more present in the middle section of the story. It was there kind of floating under the radar in the background, like Charlie would see he was getting kind of heated with the parents, but we never got to really see any of it because she wasn't near them enough and we're in her POV, of course. I kind of just wish there had been a little more happening, maybe even during the wedding itself, but then at the same time I just don't think it's in Mike's character to make a scene at the wedding because he said like he was here for Linny and he wasn't here to mess it up, he wasn't gonna do anything. I just wish that it had been a little more present throughout the middle section of the story because the family drama was one of the drawing factors of this book for me, and I kind of wanted a little bit more from it. Otherwise, I really enjoyed it. Did I like this one a little bit more than Since You've Been Gone? I think I did, just because I like this premise a lot. You know, the wedding, the family drama, it's full of stuff that I love, and while I did like Since You've Been Gone, it was a different kind of like. I think I'm gonna give this 4 stars. Man, Morgan Matson's really just out here doing the most. I'm like 65% of the way through Darius and I realized that I didn't update at all during this. It's kind of hard right now because I'm emotional and I'm connecting so much with the story and with Darius and with Sorab, and I don't even know. I'm also listening to film scores that make my soul hurt, and so I think it's just adding to it. It's creating this atmosphere that's making me want to cry. That's all I have for you right now. Know how to explain. I feel wrecked. This is the face of someone who just spent the last like hour and a bit crying. I've cried so much. If I don't stop, you're gonna get a migraine. You're gonna get a migraine. Migraine gang. When crying or being dehydrated gives you a migraine. I don't have thoughts. All of my thoughts are just me screaming. I don't know, it was so good. I don't know. Hi, it's the next day. I had a migraine all night and I took a Tylenol this morning to tamp that down, and I'm starting to feel a little bit better. The price of reading a book that absolutely ruins you. I wrote some notes down so that I could actually coherently talk to you guys about this book, and I've never had to do this before. I could usually just keep all my thoughts in my head and be able to talk to you normally, but man, something about this book just rearranged my entire insides. So I'm sorry if I'm looking down and referencing this a lot because, again, there's nothing up in here. There's nothing here. First of all, I loved Darius's voice. And the way he narrated felt so distinct. In the way that when I read it, it felt like it could only be Darius who was narrating. He had certain quirks about his narration that I really enjoyed. Things like he would say level something something, so level 2 awkwardness or level 10 awkwardness. He'd also say a lot, which is both detrimental but also great because it shows who he is as a person. It's just he doesn't really know what to say a lot of the time. Even just the way that the words come together and the way that the line breaks, it just felt so Darius. After a while, I totally associated it with Darius, and I couldn't imagine anyone else narrating like that. Number 2. Darius calls his father and his grandfather by their full names a lot of the time, and I really enjoyed that because it definitely showed the distance that Darius feels from both of them. But then it's also really great because Darius is more similar to them than he even realizes, and that's another part of the book, is him journeying to find out that he is super similar to them. Number 3, his friendship with Sohrab. Oh my goodness. The love and the joy they share together is just, it's so palpable. I could feel it coming through the pages into my heart, especially since they both said that this is the first friend that they've ever truly had, and that really warmed my heart. Like, the way that they simply know each other and love each other has me feeling all soft. I love a good friendship in a book, guys, or in a movie, in anything. If there was a really great, strong friendship, I'm done. That has me, you've killed me. And Darius and Sohrab were definitely that. Every time they were on screen together, it made my heart hurt, but in the best way possible, because you could see how happy they genuinely made each other. And Darius was never as happy as he was anywhere else than when he was with Sohrab. Number 5, it's kind of this whole cluster of things. I think it's actually 4, but it's a lot of stuff together, and it's the thing that this book really wants to talk about, which is depression. Darius and his dad both are diagnosed with clinical depression, and they've had it for the majority of their lives. Darius takes a medication for it, and the medication gives him mood swings, and they feel so real to read, because he'll go from happy to feeling kind of upset about something and angry, and then realizing that, oh, what he's angry about was so selfish, and then he'd feel ashamed of that, and then he'd feel like bad that he'd done that sort of stuff, and then something would happen and he'd be able to go back to being happy, all in like the span of maybe a page. And I love that we can see it happen because it adds this level of realism to his character. It makes him feel more three-dimensional, like he felt so tangible to me. And lastly, that heart-to-heart that he had with his dad near the end of the book. Oh my goodness. In the afterword, the author wrote, "Suicide isn't the only way you can lose someone to depression." That was really powerful. You don't have to have had something bad to you to still have depression, and that's one of the things that happened to Darius a lot, because when he was in Iran and people would see him taking his medication, they would ask him what he was for, and he would say it was for depression, and then they would ask if something bad had happened to him, and he would always have to answer no, because it was true. Nothing bad had truly happened to him. That was just how his brain was, and he was always a little bit ashamed of that. But of course, you don't have to have something bad have happened to you to still have depression. And I knew that before, but I've never had an experience as visceral and as real as this book was that really painted that for me. Overall, this book hit me in a way that I really didn't expect it to. It's beautiful. It's a story of family, friends, depression, life, and learning to just be and be content with that. And wow, we really went out on a high note. I think I gotta give it a 5 stars. I impulsively, I just have to. I don't give 5 stars to books very often, or movies very often. If I give something a 5 stars, it means that it actually rearranged my entire heart. Like, it took it out, kind of like smushed it up and then threw it back into me. It means that I will die for the people who have made it, who have been involved in it. It means that I will forever be talking about it. I think this book has to have 5 stars. Okay, so there we have it. Those were 5 contemporaries that I read because it's summer and I felt like it. Clearly, it really is summer because I have to turn my fan off every time I want to make one of these, and I'm sweating. If I had to rank every single book that I read from 1 to 5, 5 being I enjoyed it the least and 1 being I enjoyed it the most, the rating would be as follows. The Way Back Home, When Dimple Met Rishi, Since You've Been Gone, Save the Date, and Darius the Great Is Not Okay. Alright, that's all I have for you. If you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know if you've read any of these books. What did you think about them? Did you have different opinions? Did you love them? Did you hate them? Let me know that in the comments. And hey, if you enjoyed this, maybe you should subscribe so that you can get more content like this from me. Also, I'm on platforms, so if you want to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Goodreads, and Letterboxd, those links are in the description as well. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!